Hello everybody and welcome back to RainBro Crafts. My name is Colton and today I will be showing you how we make our Butch Queen soap, which will be part of our Pride collection for June. This soap will start out just like all of our other soaps by blending in our lye water, which is at about 110-120 degrees, with our custom plant-based oil blend, and that is in the description box below. That oil blend also is at about 110-120 degrees. Into that we will strain our colloidal oatmeal slurry, and also in the lye water is some sodium lactate. Now sodium lactate helps with the hardness of the bar and makes it release more cleanly from the mold, so we add this to all of our soap. We will incorporate that until the soap batter comes to a light trace, and then we will pour in our fragrance. So this fragrance blend is a custom blend of hickory and suede from Brambleberry, and then we wanted to amp up the lavender notes that were already present in that, so we actually did a 50-50 with some lavender essential oil as well. This fragrance was inspired by a ex-coworker of Zac, who had used our hickory and suede soap, which is called Pleather Daddy, and a Christie's Lavender Field. Both of those will be linked up in the card here, but he had used a little sliver of both of those and they kind of like mushed together, and he said it was a great scent, so we took that idea and we ran with it. Now that our soap batter is to the consistency we would like, I have poured off a little bit into each of those clear kind of stick blender pitchers, and then into that main section I have put in some black oyster mica and some activated charcoal to get a really dark gray, almost black color, and then we will just incorporate that very quickly. We don't want to cause this soap batter to get too thick, because with the technique we'll be doing here in a moment, you don't want it to be too thick or it won't work very well. And then to those two smaller pitchers we will add in some purple mica. I think this one's called lilac mica from Brambleberry. And then to that second pitcher of soap batter, we'll be adding in some iridescent violet mica, and that's from Workshop Heritage Supply. This is a really pretty grapey violet color, and I wanted to do a pretty bold contrast between the two purples that I was doing, just because I wanted them to show up and look different in the final product. We will just blitz those really quickly with our stick blender. I'm not worrying about scraping off the soap batter because they're both purple, but I went from light to dark just to keep those colors as true to form as possible. And then we will be pulling out our squeeze tubes. Now, if you've seen the thunderstorm soap making video, you'll recognize this step. We are going to be doing those little raindrops into the soap base, and we'll be doing two different colors just like that thunderstorm soap. So I actually did 3 batches of this soap at the same time, back to back at least, and after this first batch, which is the one I filmed, realized that I needed to thin out the soap batter just a smidge, so I actually just blended it a little less, because you can see here it thickened up pretty quickly. I also sped up my processing time just a little bit. When you're not filming, you can move a little bit quicker than when you are filming, just because you want to make sure everything's in shot and lit correctly and all that. Now that we have our soap batter in those tubes, we will just do some quick back and forth motions, putting the tip of that squeeze tube into the soap batter and squeezing pretty firmly. I also adjusted the height of when I was squeezing these a little bit to show a little bit more of that soap drop. I just didn't remember that's what I did for this first batch, but then afterwards I remembered that. We will then just scrape out the remainder of the black soap base, and we will level this out as much as possible. We want to keep it nice and level, and then we will be going in with little dots of the light purple and the dark purple. This is kind of a cumbersome, time-consuming process, but it gives a good product. One thing I changed between this first batch and the final 2 batches is that instead of doing straight lines initially, I did spirals starting in the middle just to give it a more randomized effect. It just looked a little more orderly this first batch than the final 2, and I wanted it to be a little bit chaotic. While I am doing this, one thing that we like to do as a company is each month we highlight a specific charity or foundation. Usually it's 2, and then we will donate a portion of our proceeds to those foundations. And that has been from the first month we did business. Now, we used to focus on donating the portion of proceeds from a specific bar of soap. So like if we did a special soap for the month, all of the proceeds from that bar would be donated. Now we do a kind of a set amount, and obviously that changes based on the larger we get, the more we are financially able to donate, and we love to do that. For June, for Pride Month, we do want to focus on some queer-based charities and foundations, and so we are doing Trevor Project. And then for the entire summer season, so June, July, August, we are actually going to be donating to the Queer Youth Resource Center here in Vancouver as well. So we did change how we donate a little bit and do a monthly charity or foundation, and then one for the quarter basically. And usually who we choose is focused on what's happening in that month or that quarter. So for July, we are doing the Marsha P. Johnson Foundation, which is one that we like to always donate to. And then for August, we are doing Black Girls Do STEM, which is another one we've donated to, I think, the past 3 years. We always like to focus on a local group, and then one that's a little more widely recognized as well. We also are always happy to donate gift baskets to raffles for fundraisers and those sorts of things. So we just did one for PFLAG here in the Vancouver area, and we just like to do that as much as we're physically able to, because we want to help in whatever way possible. So we are just about done here with the little gumdrops that we were wanting to do on the top of this soap, and you can see it does look pretty chaotic. It looks a little messy at this point. When you do unmold the soap from this, the edges get clean because we do bevel them. And one final touch that we're gonna do is we're gonna do some violet shift mica. It is kind of hard to see the total effect on camera, but in person there is a violet kind of iridescent sheen to the top of this. It doesn't look as much like powdered sugar as it does in the video here. We then spritz the top with rubbing alcohol and tuck that soap mold away for 24 hours, and now it is time to unmold and slice. So you can see here that nice kind of contrast of color between the dark gray and the purple and light purple design. The edges are a little paler than the actual soap is, and you'll see that when we actually cut into that, and that's pretty normal, especially with darker colors. Just the edges tend to be a little more soda ashy. So if you watched our last video, you'll know that we did get a new soap cutter. This is a multi-bar cutter, and it is really a big step up in terms of production. It allows us to slice a loaf of soap in like 10 seconds as opposed to 10 to 20 minutes, and is going to save us quite a lot of time. We also just bought another slab mold, so we now have 6. So basically we can make 6 loaves or 6 slabs of soap at a time, which is about 180 bars. So we're really kind of ramping up production to keep up with the demand. Now we're just kind of bursting at the seams here in terms of our production space, since it is our spare bedroom, and then it previously was the dining room. But we probably haven't eaten in the dining room in quite a long time, just because we've been using it for production space. And now we'll do a kind of speed up here to slice through all of these. You can see the quickness that this soap cutter is allowing us to slice all these bars. One thing we are looking for is a name for the soap cutter. We kind of are leaning towards Dorothy just because it's a bright red soap cutter, but obviously suggestions in the comments are welcome at what we should name this new tool for us. And that is how we make our Butch Queen soap. This soap will be for sale in person and also online at RainBroCrafts.com, so definitely check that out if you want to snag a couple of these, because I do think they'll go pretty quickly. If you'd like to support the channel, we have a subscription service where you can get a bar or 2 of soap a month and a shout out at the end of the video, so check that out on our website. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see what RainBro Crafts comes up with next.